What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of MLB action here on Friday, August 30th. Thursday, guys, they finally got us. We did not have a winning day on Thursday. We ended up going 2-3 overall. We started the day off great with the under in that Angels-Detroit game. 3-0 win there for the Angels, an easy hit for us on the under. We had the Padres -104. That was a 4-1 loss there. Sonny Gray was apparently absolutely dialed in that one. San Diego only had 3 hits. They also committed 2 errors in that game, so just not great stuff from them there. We had the Rockies -118. That was a crazy game, a 12-8 loss. Colorado just couldn't get anyone out in that game, it didn't feel like. We had Atlanta and the Phillies. That over ended up being a 5-4 win for the Phillies. We got there in the 7th inning thanks to a 2-run home run, so we'll definitely take that. We did take a bad beat on our last game of the night, guys. We had a chance to have another winning day. We had the over in that Baltimore LA Dodgers game, and it ended 6-3 despite there being 18 total hits in that game. It just felt like the Dodgers had guys on base all night long, and so did Baltimore, and we just couldn't come with quite enough offense. So a little bit disappointing there, but let's get after it here with the weekend closing in. Before we jump into the games, though, guys, hit that like button. We ran our drawing for the giveaway of the 1 week of premium picks at stumpthespread.com, and Nocturna 6661, you ended up winning that giveaway. So yeah, comment below, let us know your email address and stuff like that, and we will have you either reach out to stumpthespread.com or have stumpthespread.com reach out to you to get you hooked up with that free week of premium picks. Appreciate everybody that's been hitting the like button lately. That really helps the channel, and also appreciate all the new subscribers that we've been getting. It's been fantastic, and yeah, signing up for notifications on that can help you to not miss our daily uploads. You can also sign up for a channel membership. We've been working on some members perks. Gonna be working on that some more, guys. If you have any good ideas for those, please put them down in the comments. Our videos are sponsored by stumpthespread.com. We have a team of experts over there for every major sport, currently covering Major League Baseball, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up, and also join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we'll give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Milwaukee Brewers going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Milwaukee Brewers come into this game fresh off of a 6-0 shutout win there over the Giants. They've won 4 out of their last 6 overall. They've got a 9.5 game cushion in the NL Central. They're hitting the ball to Colin Ray, who's 12-4 this year with a 3.61 ERA. He looked kind of shaking his last start, guys, at Oakland. 6 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned runs allowed. Definitely not his best stuff. He's been a bit up and down recently. Obviously, he's had a great season, over the course of the year, but yeah, just a little bit shaky. A bad start at Oakland, a great start at home against Cleveland, a mediocre start at home against the Dodgers. So we'll see what we get out of him in this one going up against the Cincinnati Reds. Definitely a divisional opponent here. The last time he faced them was back on the 16th of June. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs in that one. Not a bad outing there by any stretch. So yeah, expecting good stuff from Ray in this one. Also expecting good things from that Brewers bullpen. Currently first in the MLB with a 2.74 ERA coming out of the pen. In terms of their offense, they've scored 6, 5, 4, 3, 9, and 11 runs over their last few games. 11th in the majors in runs scored, 8th in the majors in batting average, 3rd in the majors in on-base percentage. Not going to be the offense that they were before when they had Yelich and just everything was clicking, but not a terrible offense. So we'll see what they can do here against the Reds, who come into this game fresh off of a very narrow 10-9 walk-off win there at Oakland, or at home against Oakland, to win 1 out of 3 in that series. The Reds not having a great time, 13.5 games back in the NL Central. They're handing the ball to Nick Martinez. So looking like this is going to be another Martinez start. He looked really weird, didn't last very long in his last one at the Pirates. 3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs. Only one of them was earned. His start before that, he got absolutely shelled at the Toronto Blue Jays, and the start before that was at home against the Royals, and he didn't have a great time in that one. So definitely some significant questions about Martinez here. Not as many questions about that Reds bullpen, but they're not trending any positive direction right now. They've been falling, behind the pace a little bit, and yeah, they're barely top 10 anymore. So definitely some concerns about them here. Obviously, this is game 1 of this, 2-game doubleheader here that they've got going on, so we'll see what actually happens with the Reds pitching staff in this game. I'm definitely a bit concerned. I'm also concerned about their offense. Obviously, they're coming off of a game where they scored 10 runs, so that's fun, but the game before that, they scored 6. Game before that, 4. This is just not a great offensive team. They are 15th in the majors in runs scored, so that's fun, but guys, they are only 25th in the majors in batting average, 23rd in on-base percentage. They're league average in slugging percentage, so it's cool to see those numbers trending upwards a little bit. it, but you have to take into account they play at the Great American Ballpark. So looking at the numbers for this game, one here, we've got the Brewers at -125, the Reds at +114. We got an over-under of 9.5 here in game one. Milwaukee is a solid road team at 37-31 on the road. The Reds are 32-36 at home, so not amazing. We've got mixed trends towards the over-under here with an over-under of 9.5. I would maybe lean a little bit towards that under. I think offense could be at a bit of a premium here in the first game of this doubleheader, but guys, I think Milwaukee is the value pick in this one. Taking the Brewers -125 seems very, very reasonable with Ray on the mound and in something of a bounce back spot. Martinez has had some good outings, but not recently, and I'm pretty concerned about him, so we'll see what we get. The last time he faced Milwaukee, though, it was very, very good. So yeah, generally leaning a bit towards the under and a bit towards the Milwaukee Brewers. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Atlanta Braves going on the road to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. The Braves come into this game fresh off of a 5-4 loss at the Phillies in Game 1 of this series. At 73-61 on the year, they're 6 games back of the Phillies in the NL East. They're hitting the ball to Reynaldo Lopez, who's 7-4 this year with a 2.02 ERA. His last start was a lights-out one against the Nationals. 6 innings, 3 hits, only a single earned run allowed. The last time he faced the Phillies, which was back on the 20th, so not very long ago, 5 innings, 5 hits, only a single earned run allowed in that one, and he struck out 10. So definitely expecting very, very good stuff from Reynaldo Lopez in this game. Also, always expecting pretty good stuff from that Atlanta bullpen. Third in the majors with a 3.36 bullpen ERA. The offense is usually the question for this team, but they've been a bit better recently, scoring 4, 5, 8, and 10 runs over their last few games. Yeah, guys, I don't know. This just seems like a very hit or miss, no pun intended, offense. 16th in the majors in runs scored, 16th in the majors, batting .242 as a team. Like, just not putting up very many elite numbers. So we'll see what they can do here against the Phillies, who come into this game fresh off of that 5-4 win. They've been playing pretty well recently, winning 5 out of their last 6 overall. They're hitting the ball in this game to Ranger Suarez, who's 11-5 this year with a 2.82 ERA. Seems like he's getting back on track here a little bit. His last start was a very good one at the Royals. 5 innings, 4 hits, only a single earned run allowed. In a game, we saw the Phillies eventually win 11-2. So that's nice. Has he been lights out like he was earlier in the season? No. So I'm a little bit concerned about what we're going to see from him in this game specifically. The last time he faced Atlanta was back on July 6th, and he did not have a good time. So yeah, definitely could say that we're a little bit concerned here about Ranger Suarez. And looking at the Phillies bullpen, obviously that is a huge concern for this team. 4.01 bullpen ERA is a big, big problem. Not the bullpen that the Phillies were imagining that they would have. And the offense, well, it's been, they've been swinging some relatively hot bats recently. 5-0, 5-3, 11, and 11 runs. Yeah, those 2 games where they were killing it against the Royals is cool, but maybe not an offense that I completely trust here at this exact moment. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Braves at +116, the Phillies at -134. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. Atlanta is 37-32 on the road, so a very respectable road team. The Phillies, though, guys, they are 45-23 at home. That's an MLB best home mark, so that's pretty impressive. We actually have both teams showing trends towards the under here. Atlanta's a big under team on the road, and the Phillies are a slight under team at home. I'm not really interested in under 8 in this game, though, guys. I don't trust Ranger Suarez in this spot going up against a team that has given him a lot of trouble lately. And yeah, guys, it doesn't take too much to get to 8 or 9 runs. So generally speaking, I'm leaning slightly towards the over, but I also think the Atlanta Braves at +116 are very, very live in this spot. Reynaldo Lopez is absolutely no joke out there on the mound. Next up, guys, we got the Boston Red Sox going on the road to take on the Detroit Tigers. The Red Sox come into this game fresh off of a 2-0 loss to the Blue Jays in the last game of that 4-game series that they ended up splitting. The Red Sox not having a great time at 69-65 on the year. They're going to be handing the ball in this game to Tanner Houck, who's 8-9 this season with a 3.23 ERA. His last start was a terrible one against the Diamondbacks, and guys, he has not been having a great time lately in terms of run support. We see that the Red Sox are 0-5 over his last 5 starts. 3 of those definitely not his fault. I would say, the one at the Rangers where he got shelled, and this last one against the Diamondbacks where he got shelled, those are his fault. So we'll see if he can bounce back here against the Tigers. We'll also see what we get from that Red Sox bullpen, which has been pretty freaking horrendous, guys. A 4.42 bullpen ERA has them somewhere around 25th in the MLB. So pretty weak stuff there, leaning heavily on this offense that got shut out in their last game. They've scored 0, 3, 6, and 3 runs over their last few, swinging some pretty freaking cold bats right now, especially for a team that's 6th in the majors in runs scored this year and 4th in the majors in batting average. So we'll see what they can do here against the Tigers, who come into this game without a confirmed starter. They just lost the last game of that series against the Angels, which snapped a nice little winning streak there, but when you're playing a series against the White Sox and the Angels, you should probably be racking up some wins. We don't really know who the Tigers are going going to be handing the ball to start this game. If it ends up being a bullpen start, guys, a 3.85 bullpen ERA, absolutely nothing to turn your nose up at. I don't hate what I'm seeing out of the Tigers pitching staff in general recently. The offense continues to be a work in progress, though, guys. They've scored 0, 3, 6, 6, 9, and 13 runs over the last few games. But like I was saying, guys, that's against the likes of the Angels and the Chicago White Sox. This is not an elite offensive team. We are seeing good stuff here from Riley Green, but 19th in the majors in runs scored and 21st in the majors in slugging percentage. Not necessarily amazing numbers. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Red Sox at -136, the Tigers at +116. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this one. Boston is actually great on the road, guys. They are 38 and 27 on the road. Detroit is 33 and 33 at home. We see mixed trends here towards the over-under, with Boston actually being a big over team on the road. And you could maybe talk me into over 8.5 in this one, guys. But I think the value in this one is on Boston -136. Despite the fact they're playing on the road, I think we'll see a good bounce back start from Houck. And yeah, we really have no idea what we're going to see from the Tigers pitching staff. We have no starter confirmed. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at game 2 of that doubleheader between the Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds. We don't have a confirmed starter yet for Cincinnati in this one. If it ends up being a bullpen start from them, depending on how much the bullpen gets used in game 1, obviously we don't hate that for the Brewers, who have the best bullpen ERA in the major leagues right now, and they're swinging some relatively, it seems like the bats are coming around. So the Brewers doing some positive things right now. The Reds looking to be handing the ball in this one to Rhett Lauder, who, is going to be making his MLB debut for this season, it appears. I'm not seeing anything else, any other outings for him on here. So we'll see what we get from him. Obviously, that is pretty much a complete unknown, and no huge shock here, guys. We don't have any numbers announced yet for this game, so you'll have to check back and see. I doubt game 2 is going to end up in there, and it kind of seems unlikely that game 1 is either. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Chicago Cubs going on the road to take on the Washington Nationals. The Cubs come into this game fresh off of another win. They swept the Pirates in that 3-game series, winning the last game of that series 14-10, taking full advantage of that terrible Pirates bullpen. The Cubs are going to be handing the ball in this one to Shota Imanaga, who's 10-3 this season with a 3.08 ERA. He's coming off of an excellent start at the Marlins, 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs allowed. His start for that against the Blue Jays was also very, very good. I think we can pretty much pencil Imanaga in for solid starts at this point. The dude has looked very, very good this season. Absolutely no doubt about that. The Cubs bullpen has also been looking good recently, guys. They're up to 9th in the majors with a 3.73 bullpen ERA. So yeah, very positive stuff there for this pitching staff in general in this game. In terms of their offense, swinging some very hot bats, scoring 14, 9, 18, 2, and 14 runs over their last few games. Now, in series against the Pirates, the Marlins, and the Tigers, obviously, you got to take that with a little bit of grain of salt, and Chicago is still 9.5 games back in the NL Central, but they are turning things around at the plate. They're up to 14th in the majors in runs scored and 12th in the majors in on-base percentage. So we'll see if they can keep things rolling here against the Nationals, who come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 3 there against the Yankees. They're handing the ball to Jake Irvin, who's 9-10 this year with a 3.80 ERA. His last start was at the Atlanta Braves, guys. 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, and 2 earned runs. Very, very solid work for him. Not really his fault. We eventually saw the Nationals lose that game 4-2. So yeah, Jake Irvin, definitely somebody we're looking at least borderline plus level starter. We'll see what he can do out there, but we're very worried about that Washington bullpen, guys. A 4.07 bullpen ERA is not great, and not necessarily a number I trust to continue heading in a positive direction here. The offense, not really one that's suited to be, carrying the load for a team. Not really looking like they can make up for some deficiencies there in the pitching staff, guys. They've scored 5, 4, 2, 5, and 2 runs over their last few games. Honestly, that was a hot-hitting series for them against the Yankees, and they scored a total of 11 runs over 3 games. So, yeah, not really feeling this offense. They've got a lot to improve upon, and looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the odds makers agree. We've got the Cubs at -162. We've got the Nationals at +136. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. The Cubs are 32 and 37 on the road. Washington is 32 and 34 at home. We've got mixed trends here towards the over-under and no real big trends to look at. With an over-under of 8 in this game, I do think there could be some reason to take the under with Imanaga and Irvin on the mound, but generally speaking in this game, guys, I think we might have to go with the Nationals at +136, under the impression that the Cubs could struggle a little bit here on the road, and yeah, just generally speaking, not loving, this situation for the Cubs. That price for the Cubs is really the problem, guys. Minus 162 is way, way too expensive. If you're convinced Imanaga is going to have another great start and the Cubs' red-hot bats are going to continue, you could take them, but generally speaking, this is a game I'd rather just stay away from. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the San Diego Padres going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. The Padres come into this game fresh off of another loss, guys. They lost the last 2 games of that 4-game series at the Cardinals. Yeah, kind of disappointing to see that very poor effort there in the last game. At 76-60 on the year, though, guys, they're 4.5 games back in the NL West. Handing the ball in this one to Martin Perez, who's 3-5 this year with a 4.60 ERA. His last start, I guess, was a decent one against the Mets. 3 2/3 innings, 4 hits, only a single earned run surrendered, which is pretty good for him. Not somebody that's really been amazing here down the stretch, but also he hasn't been a complete disaster. So yeah, guys, we'll see what he can do here against the Tampa Bay Rays. Not the toughest hitting opponent out there. We'll also see what we get from that San Diego bullpen that's been trending in a positive direction. A 3.90 ERA coming out of the pen is nice for a team that had a really, really rough time in the bullpen early in the season. So we'll see what we get out of their pitching staff in this one. We'll also see if that offense can come back alive, guys, totaling 4 runs over the last 2 games of that series. Not really what they had in mind. Definitely not great for a team that's 9th in the majors in runs scored, 1st in the majors, batting .266 as a squad. Like, they're supposed to score more runs than they're putting up right now. So we'll see what they can do here against the Rays, who come into this game not having a great time. They just lost 2 out of 3 at Seattle. They're 60-67 on the year, handing the ball in this game to Taj Bradley, who's 6-8 this year with a 3.77 ERA. His last few starts have left a lot to be desired, guys. He had a nice solid stretch there for a bit, but yeah, he got shelled at the Dodgers. He got not quite shelled, but knocked around a little bit at Oakland. He didn't have a very good time against Houston, had a terrible time against the Cardinals. Like, this is a struggling starting pitcher, so we'll see what he can do. We'll also see what that bullpen can do for Tampa Bay. They're not as bad as I would have expected, guys. They're somewhere around top 12 or 14 in the majors with a 3.80 bullpen ERA, which is not bad for a bullpen that was terrible in the early goings. The problem for this team is their offense, guys. They've scored 2, 3, 1, 1, and 9 runs over their last few games. They're 28th in the majors in runs scored, 28th in the majors, batting .230 as a team. Like, flat out, this is just not a good offensive team. So looking at the numbers for this one, we've got the Padres at plus 116, the Rays at minus 135. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. San Diego is 38-28 on the road, a very good road team. Tampa Bay is 34-34 at home. We actually see both teams showing trends towards the under, but pretty slight trends, and the over-under isn't something I'm super interested in, and I'm not sure that I'm really interested in this game regardless. I would maybe take a flyer here on the Padres, who are definitely the better team at plus 116, but generally speaking, I'm not interested in this one. Taj Bradley definitely could have a bounce-back performance. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the St. Louis Cardinals going on the road to take on the New York Yankees. The Cardinals come into this game fresh off of winning 2 out of 4 there against the Padres. They won the last 2 games of that series after things were looking pretty bleak there for a bit. At 67-67 on the year, though, this St. Louis team not headed anywhere quick. They're handing the ball to Eric Feedy, who's 8-7 this year with a 3.31 ERA. He was their big acquisition there at the trade deadline, and it seems to be paying off now. I mean, his last couple of starts were very, very good. He couldn't get any run support against Milwaukee back on the 20th, but in his last start at the Twins, got just enough to get the job done, and he was great. 6 innings, 2 hits, only a single earned run in that one. So we'll see what he can do here against a very tough hitting opponent in the Yankees. Not somebody you're going to be expecting to, always find success against, but we'll see what he can do. We'll also see what we get from that Cardinals bullpen with a 3.62 bullpen ERA. Very, very good numbers there. A much better than bullpen than I would have projected at the beginning of the year. The problem for the Cardinals has been their offense pretty much all season long here, guys. They've scored 4, 4, 5, 4, and 3 runs over their last few games. They're 24th in the majors in runs scored, 22nd in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, just a lot of veteran hitters on this roster that are not coming through this season. So we'll see what they can do here. Not really expecting miracles going up against the Yankees, who come into this game fresh off of back-to-back losses there at Washington. They lost 2 out of 3 in that series. I'm sure that's not what they had in mind. They're still 1 game up on the Baltimore Orioles there in the AL East. They're giving the ball to Marcus Stroman in this game, who's 9-6 this year with a 3.88 ERA. His last start was not an amazing one. 5 innings, 3 earned runs allowed on 5 hits. He struck out 5 and walked 3. Not amazing stuff, but it was a win there at Colorado, or at home against Colorado for the Yankees, so they'll take that. But what do they expect to see from him in this matchup against the Cardinals? Honestly, guys, I'm expecting Stroman and pretty much any pitcher at this point to have a pretty good time in that matchup. In terms of their bullpen, the Yankees are top 7 in the majors with a 3.63 bullpen ERA. Very little to complain about there. And the offense, guys, that's what the problem's been recently. They've scored only 4 runs total over each of their, over their last 2 games. That's not what this offense is about, guys. We've seen historic stuff from Aaron Judge this season. The Yankees are second in the majors in runs scored, 11th in the majors in batting average. They are the top on base percentage team in the majors. Like, this offense should be putting up more runs. So looking at the numbers for this game, the odds makers don't seem to be too worried about that. We've got the Cardinals at plus 150, the Yankees at minus 167. We've got an over-under of 9 in this one. The Cardinals are 31 and 35 on the road, so not great. The Yankees are 36 and 29 at home, so much better. In terms of the over-under, we've got mixed trends here. The Yankees are a big over team at home, and the Cardinals are a significant under team on the road. With an over-under of 9 in this game, and given these two starters and these two bullpens, I don't think under 9 is too crazy of a lean. In terms of the side, though, guys, I'm definitely siding with the Yankees minus 167. I think there's a decent chance their bats will wake back up here, and even going up against somebody like Feedy, who's been throwing the ball better recently, I'm not necessarily expecting miracles. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. First of all, this is a great time to sign up at stumpthespread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. If you just want to test out the service, a great way to do that is by joining our free email list, which will get you the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just go ahead and click that link in the description. It'll take you right over to stumpthespread.com. Also, guys, just to clarify some of the questions we've been getting in the emails and in the comments, I am not the MLB capper for stumpthespread.com. These YouTube picks are obviously free to everyone and are just what I am seeing out there. We have an expert with nearly 15 years of experience that covers MLB and has a very strong algorithm and some very cool tools that he uses to bring our premium members the best picks possible. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new. Now back to the game. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Pittsburgh Pirates going on the road to take on the Cleveland Guardians. The Pirates come into this game fresh off of another loss. They lost all 3 games in that series against the Chicago Cubs. They're hitting the ball to Bailey Falter in this one, who's 6-7 on the year with a 4.25 ERA. His last start, not a good one against the Reds, although we did eventually see the Pirates win that game. He did not have his best stuff in that one. Going up against a team like Cleveland seems like a bit of a tough ask for him. Bailey Falter, not my favorite pitcher at the moment. In terms of their bullpen, the Pirates have one of the worst bullpens in Major League Baseball right now. Not really feeling it from them. A 4.58 bullpen ERA has them 4th worst in the major leagues, and this offense is not really killing it either. They did just score 10 runs in their last game, albeit in a 14-10 loss. They've scored 10, 5, 8, 3, 4, and 2. So yeah, swinging, I guess, some hotter bats, but when you're scoring a bunch of runs in games that you're getting blown out still, like, I don't know, guys. Just not a lot of great feelings for me coming out of Pittsburgh at the moment. And yeah, they're taking on the Guardians in this one. Not necessarily the easiest opponent for them to go up against. The Guardians not having their best time recently. They're down to a 1.5 lead there over Kansas City after losing 3 out of 4 in that series against them. The Guardians are hitting the ball in this one to Ben Lively, who's 11-8 this year with a 3.62 ERA. His last start was against the Rangers, and it was a very good one. 6 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs allowed in a game we eventually saw the Guardians win that one 13-5. So very good stuff there. He's been very serviceable in most of his recent starts, and it's not like he's taken on the toughest opponent in this one in the Pirates. So expecting pretty good stuff from Ben Lively. I'm always going to be expecting very good stuff from that Cleveland bullpen. A 2.79 bullpen ERA. Absolutely nothing to turn your nose up at there. The offense has been generally the problem for this team, guys. We've seen Quan not having the greatest time recently, and yeah, having somebody at the top of the order have problems definitely doesn't help. They did win their last game by scoring 7 runs, but they scored 7, 1, 4, 3, and 4 runs over their last few games. They're 12th in the majors in runs scored, but 22nd in batting average. Like, this just is not an offense that I'm super, super high on at the moment. So we'll see what they can get done in this matchup against the Pirates team that's been allowing a ton of runs. The Pirates are plus 145 in this one. The Guardians are minus 164. We've got an over-under of 8.5. The Pirates are 30-35 on the road. Cleveland is a great home team, guys. 41-24 at home. Very impressive stuff there. And with Ben Lively on the mound, I don't think there's any reason not to side with Cleveland in this game. You could honestly look at taking Cleveland at minus 1.5. I would not be mad at that at all. If you take them at minus 1.5, it looks like you can get them at somewhere around plus 125. That seems pretty appealing to me. Are we going to get greedy and go with them plus 120, or get them minus 1.5 at plus 125? Seems a bit unlikely to me. We'd probably just go ahead and take them at that minus 164, but we're going to have to wait and see. With Lively on the mound, I do like them a good amount. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Oakland A's going on the road to take on the Texas Rangers. We've got the A's coming into this game fresh off of a loss there at Cincinnati, but they did win 2 out of 3 in that series, but 58 and 76 on the year, not going to take them anywhere impressive. They're hitting the ball to J.P. Sears in this game, who's 10 and 9 on the year with a 4.35 ERA. His last start was a debacle against the Brewers, guys. 3 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 7 runs, 5 of them were earned. He gave up 2 home runs in that game. Definitely a big step backwards after a very good start at against the Giants and very good starts against Toronto and the Chicago White Sox. So expecting Sears to get back on track here in a pretty big way. In terms of the A's bullpen, guys, they've been very good this season. A 3.76 bullpen ERA has them inside the top 10 in the majors. So that's all very, very positive stuff. The offense has been a little bit up and down, but they scored 9, 9, 5, and 4 runs over their last few games. We've seen Lawrence Butler doing some crazy stuff out there. Brent Rooker's obviously a very good power hitter. The A's are only 25th in the majors in runs scored, but 18th in slugging percentage. Like, this is not the worst offensive team out there. So we'll see what they can get done here going up against the Rangers, who come into this game winners of their last 3 in a row. That was a series against the Chicago White Sox, though. They're hitting the ball to Jon Gray, who's 5 and 5 this year with a 4.32 ERA. His last outing was technically a start, guys. He only went 2 innings. He gave up 7 hits and 7 earned runs. So yeah, pretty much as bad as you can get out there for Jon Gray in that one. Not having a good time, and now he's got to go up against an Oakland team that can they can swing the bats a little bit, so he has to be a little bit concerned about them. In terms of their bullpen, the Rangers have been absolutely horrible, guys. Somewhere in the bottom 5 or 6 in the majors with a 4.37 bullpen ERA, so that's not great. And the offense didn't even put up good numbers against the White Sox, guys, scoring 2, 4, and 3 runs in that series. They are 23rd in the majors in runs scored, 24th in the majors in slugging percentage, and these are all numbers that seem like they're getting worse here down the stretch. So yeah, looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we've got the Oakland A's at plus 130. We've got the Rangers at minus 150. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this one. Oakland's not a very good road team, guys, only 25 and 41 on the road. The Rangers are actually above 500 at home, which is pretty impressive. In terms of the over-under here, guys, we've got both teams showing trends towards the under, with the Rangers being the best under team in the MLB at home. They are 42, 21, and 2 to the under at home. Guys, I do think the Oakland A's plus 130 has a good amount of value in this game for sure. Don't get me wrong, but I think under 8.5 is the better value in this spot. I think we're going to see a great start from Sears. I'm expecting Jon Gray to bounce back a little bit here. But yeah, guys, generally speaking, I don't think you can go wrong with this game. We'll see which one of these picks ends up in the pinned comment. I think it's going to be that under 8.5, but who knows? It could end up being the A's at plus 130. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Kansas City Royals going on the road to take on the Houston Astros. The Royals come into this game fresh off of a tough 6-3 loss at Houston in Game 1 of the series. They definitely had their chances there, but yeah, 2 runs there late in the game definitely screwed things up for the Royals. They're going to be handing the ball to Seth Lugo in this game, who's 14 and 8 on the season with a 3.19 ERA. His last start was an absolute debacle against the Phillies, guys. He got shelled in that one, just could not get anything going in a positive direction for him in that game. Yeah, we'll see what we get from Lugo. Definitely in something of a bounce back spot. I'm not going to say he's been terrible over his all 5 of his last 5 starts, but I'd say he's been real bad in at least 3 of them. So definitely big concerns with Lugo on the mound. If the Royals are going to need him healthy down the stretch. They're also going to need that bullpen to get a little bit better, guys. A 4.36 bullpen ERA has them somewhere around 23rd in the majors. That is obviously less than ideal. The bats could have to carry the Royals here in this game, and they didn't look up to it yesterday, scoring only 3 runs. So we'll see what we get from them. I mean, 3, 5, 6, 9, and 4 runs over their last few. Seems about right for the Royals. I'm obviously Bobby Witt Jr. is killing it out there, and they've put up good numbers over the course of the season, being top 5 in runs scored and top 6 in batting average. But right now, I'm not sure if this is an offense that I super trust. So we'll see what they can do here against the Astros, who come into this one winners of 2 in a row. They're hitting the ball to Framber Valdez in this game, who's 13 and 6 this season with a 3.27 ERA. His last start was at Baltimore, guys, at Camden Yards. He went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 6 hits and 3 earned runs. Definitely a step back after being absolutely dominant, albeit against some weak teams in his 3 starts before that. So we'll see what we actually get from Valdez in this outing. I'm not necessarily holding my breath to see, for him to have a great start, but I think it'll be okay. I don't think he's in a terrible spot going up against the Royals. I also don't hate that Houston bullpen, guys. 5th in the majors with a 3.53 bullpen ERA. Very respectable stuff there. So we'll see if they can, get the job done in this game. It'll be interesting, and we'll see if they get handed a lead by this offense that has scored 16 combined runs over their last 2 games. That's pretty nice, but 13th in the majors in runs scored despite being 2nd in the majors in batting average leaves me with plenty of question marks about this offense definitely a an offense that I could only describe as being somewhat odd, somewhat inconsistent, like very all over the place. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Royals at plus 140, the Astros at minus 150. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. The Royals are 34 and 31 on the road, so they've got over 500 on the road now. Houston 35 and 29 at home. We've got both teams showing trends towards the under here, very similar looking trends. Both of them are 35 and 26 to the under. Kansas City on the road and Houston at home, with an over-under of only 7.5 in this game, guys. Kind of makes me want to go towards the over, but generally speaking, I think we're going to stay away from that. I don't hate the Royals at plus 140 to steal a win here, but generally speaking, this is not a game that I have too much interest in. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the New York Mets going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. The Mets come into this game fresh off of a 3-2 win there at Arizona to actually win 2 out of 3 in that series, so pretty impressive stuff there. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Taylor Megill, who's 2-5 on the year with a 5.17 ERA. His last outing wasn't even a start, guys. He came out of the pen against the Minnesota Twins back on July 31st, and yeah, he had been having a rough time as a starter in there, so they're trying to ease him back in here. I mean, going up against a team like Chicago White Sox, it seems like pretty much the ideal candidate to get eased back into your, into your starting, you hope, situation for the rest of the year. So we'll see what happens. Not going to be holding my breath for a good start from Megill, but he is going up against the White Sox, so that's pretty encouraging. In terms of their bullpen, the Mets have not been as good as they would have liked this season, but they're trending in something of a positive direction with a 4.06 bullpen ERA. The offense, maybe not killing it recently, but got it done there in game 3 of their series at Arizona. They've scored 3, 5, 8, 2, and 7 runs over their last few games. The Mets are 10th in the majors in runs scored and 10th in the majors in on-base percentage, so not a terrible offense by any stretch, and we'll see what they can do here against a White Sox team who, looking historically bad. They've lost their last 7 in a row. They just got swept by the Texas Rangers. Some of those games were pretty close, so I guess they, at least tried to be competitive, but right now things are getting pretty bleak for the White Sox. They are handing the ball in this one to Jonathan Cannon, who's 2-8 this year with a 4.57 ERA. His last couple of starts have been really bad against Detroit and at San Francisco, so worried about Jonathan Cannon. He's a young guy. He's had some success this season, but not so much recently. Seems like some fatigue could be setting in, so we'll see what we get out of him. Obviously, the White Sox bullpen, we expect terrible things from. They're second worst in the majors with a 5.05 bullpen ERA, so that's pretty upsetting stuff. Just not a pitching staff that we can trust, and obviously the worst offense in Major League Baseball, dead last in runs scored, dead last in on-base percentage, and dead last in slugging percentage. So looking at the numbers for this game, obviously we're going to see the Mets as pretty big favorites at minus 215. That seems a bit expensive. The White Sox are plus 185. We got an over-under of 9 in this game. The Mets are 34 and 31 on the road. The White Sox are 18 and 51 at home. That's an MLB worst home mark. This is a pretty steep price, guys. If you wanted to take the Mets minus 1.5 to try and make this worth it, if you take a minus 1.5, you're going to be like minus 130 or minus 140. That's not very appealing either. With this over-under being all the way up to 9 and neither offense really killing it right now, I could wrap my head around taking an under 9. That might actually be my favorite lean in this game, but generally speaking, this is not a spot that I'm interested in whatsoever. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Toronto Blue Jays going on the road to take on the Minnesota Twins. The Blue Jays come into this game fresh off of a 2-0 win there at Boston in Game 4 of that series to split the series 2 games apiece. Toronto is 66 and 70 on the year, handing the ball in this one to Kevin Gausman, who's 12-9 this year with a 4.10 ERA. His last start, he was absolutely lights out against the Angels. 7 innings, 2 hits, only a single earned run allowed, so absolutely elite stuff there. He's been a bit inconsistent, but what can we expect from him in this one going up against the Twins? I mean, they're a team that he faced much earlier in the season back in May. He did get absolutely obliterated in that game, so I would say we're a little bit concerned about him. He's coming off of I would describe that as a slightly extended start for him, although he's had outings of 8 and 7 innings within his last 5. Didn't necessarily look, lights out in the start after those long outings. So we'll see what he does in this one. We'll also see what we get out of that Blue Jays bullpen, which is one of the worst in the major leagues, guys. A 4.78 bullpen ERA. Really problematic stuff there. In terms of their offense, they're coming off of a game where they scored 2 runs to win 2-0. They scored 0 runs in the game before that. I would not say this is necessarily a Toronto team that is swinging hot bats at the moment. I mean, they're 20th in the majors in runs scored this year and 20th 20th in slugging percentage. So we'll see what we get from them. We'll see what they get, after here against the Twins, who are definitely slumping right now, losing their last 4 in a row and 5 of their last 6 to fall to 72 and 61 on the year. They're hitting the ball in this one to Pablo Lopez, who's 12 and 8 this year with a 4.26 ERA. His last couple of starts have been dominant, guys. A total of 13 innings pitched, a total of 10 hits allowed, and 0 runs surrendered. So, yeah, good stuff from Lopez over his last couple of outings. And, yeah, he's somebody that's really rounded into form here later in the season. We haven't seen him go up against Toronto yet this year, so nothing to be gleaned from that. In terms of their bullpen, the Twins have been much, much better than Toronto, guys. They're in the top half of the majors with a 3.94 bullpen ERA, so that's definitely not terrible. The problem recently has been their offense has kind of disappeared, scoring only 1, 6, 6, 2, and 6 runs over their last few games. Yeah, I mean, scoring 6 runs a few different times you would think would put you in a position to win. So I'm expecting the Twins offense to bounce back here a little bit. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world type situation. And they're going to be going against a terrible bullpen and a, maybe decent but not elite starting pitcher. So we'll see what we get from them in this game. And looking at the numbers for this one, guys, we've got Toronto at plus 134, the Twins at minus 150. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. Toronto is 31 and 37 on the road, so a pretty bad road team. The Twins are 37 and 29 at home, so definitely a team that can, get after it on their home field. In terms of the over-under, we've got mixed trends once again, and none of those trends are very, very significant. Given that low number, maybe we go slightly towards the over of 8, but yeah, guys, generally speaking in this one, I'm expecting the Twins to bounce back. Taking Minnesota at minus 150 feels a bit chalky, but I think it's a reasonable price. I think we're going to see a good start from Pablo Lopez. I do think we'll definitely see the Blue Jays bullpen really, really have a hard time once they get involved in the game. So yeah, give me the Twins in this one. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Baltimore Orioles going on the road to take on the Colorado Rockies. The Orioles come into this game fresh off of a tough 6-3 loss there last night against the Dodgers. Now they get to go from LA to Colorado to take on the Rockies. They're going to be hitting the ball in this one to Albert Suarez, who's 6-4 this year with a 3.18 ERA. His last start was against the Astros. He went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. A big letdown after 3 consecutive starts where he did not give up a single run. So yeah, Suarez throwing the ball absolutely great right now. Expecting very, very good stuff from him in this matchup going up against the Colorado team that's not necessarily the hardest hitting opponent. In terms of their bullpen, Baltimore's definitely had some issues, guys. They are down to middle of the pack with a 4.03 bullpen ERA. Not really what we've grown accustomed to from this team over the course of, the beginning of the season, but recently it's definitely been a problem. In terms of their offense, that's been floundering a bit too, coming off of a game they only scored 3 runs, scoring 3, 4, 3, 3, and 3 over the last few games. That's not what this offense is supposed to be about, guys. They're third in the majors in runs scored, thanks in large part to a lot of early success. They're still first in slugging percentage, but all of these big offensive numbers that were looking so good for Baltimore are trending down at the moment. So we'll see what they can get done here against the Rockies, who come into this game fresh off of a 12-8 loss there to the Miami Marlins. Disappointing stuff there, but the Rockies are only 50 and 85 in the year, so I guess we shouldn't be expecting miracles. They're hitting the ball to Austin Gomber, who's 4-9 this season with a 4.70 ERA. He's coming off a rough start, albeit at Yankee Stadium. His start before that was very, very good at the Nationals. So generally speaking, I think we expect decent stuff from him in this one, although going up against a team like Baltimore, maybe not at this point in the season, but at a lot of points early in the year would have been a very, very tough assignment. The Rockies bullpen's a huge problem, guys. A 5.63 bullpen ERA has them dead last in the majors. So yeah, not a bullpen you really want to be relying on in any situation, and their offense hasn't been amazing. I mean, they did score 8 runs in back-to-back games, or I guess 3 consecutive games scoring 8 runs, but is this really going to be, the way this team goes? Seems a bit sketchy to me. They are MLB average in batting average and 14th in the majors in slugging percentage, but yeah, just not a great offensive team, especially when you take into account they get to play half their games at Coors Field. So looking at the numbers for this one, we've got the Orioles at minus 165, the the Rockies at plus 152. We've got an over-under of 11.5 in this one. Baltimore 38 and 27 on the road. Colorado 31 and 33 at home. We've got the Orioles as a huge over team on the road. I don't know, guys. Looking at the numbers for this game, taking Baltimore here to bounce back at minus 165 doesn't feel great. You've got the Rockies at plus 152, which doesn't really feel like quite a good enough price to justify taking Colorado. And we've got an over-under of 11.5, which Baltimore is a huge over team on the road. Colorado, a slight under team at home, actually. this is kind of a pick your own adventure situation, guys. If you're forcing me to bet it, I guess I do lean slightly towards the Orioles at minus 165, based heavily on how good Albert Suarez has looked. I also think there's some reason to look at under in this game, given the two starters that we've got on the mound. And yeah, at least Baltimore I would think would be a little bit tired. But yeah, this is kind of a tough spot if you ask me. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Seattle Mariners going on the road in this one to take on the Los Angeles Angels. The Mariners at 68 and 66 on the year, now 4 games back in the AL West. They're handing the ball in this game to George Kirby, who's 9 and 10 this year with a 3.48 ERA. His last start was not his best work against the Giants. 4 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 3 earned runs allowed. Not the norm that we've come to expect from this young 26-year-old this season. He's been very, very good up there, but maybe not so much lately. In terms of their bullpen, Seattle has been a little bit slacking here down the stretch. A 3.86 bullpen ERA, while clearly not a disaster. Not quite good enough for me to be figuring it into the mix of, this very, very good pitching staff. So we'll see what we get from the pitching staff in this game. We'll also see what we get from that Mariners offense that did score 6 runs in their last game to help them win 6-2 against the Rays. They're 26th in the majors in runs scored, 30th in the majors in batting average. They're 29th in the majors in slugging percentage. Like, all these moves, maybe a little bit too little too late here down the stretch. So we'll see what we get from Seattle in this game. We'll also see what we get from the Angels, who come into this one fresh off of that 3-0 win at the Tigers. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Samuel Aldegheri, I think is how you say it. This is not a name that I've seen ever before in my life, guys. He's an Italian dude. He's coming up from the minors. He's only 22 years old, so this is going to be quite the test for him, just getting thrown right in the fire here against some big league arms. So looking at the Angels bullpen, which could get a workout in this one, they're not amazing. A 4.11 bullpen ERA has them down in the bottom third of the league, and this offense hasn't been very good either, guys. They've scored 3, 2, 2, 2, and 1 runs over their last few. They're 27th in the majors in runs scored and 27th in the majors in batting average. So looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Mariners at minus 176, the Angels at plus 165. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. Got to take Seattle in this spot against a minor league pitcher and with George Kirby on the mound. Seattle at minus 176. Seems like a very, very steep price, though, and they're not a great road team at only 27 and 38 on the road. The Angels are only 27 and 40 at home, though, so I guess those kind of cancel each other out, and we don't have any major trends here towards the over-under. I think the play in this one is just go ahead and pay that price and take the Seattle Mariners. Headed into the home stretch here, guys, we're looking at the Los Angeles Dodgers going on the road to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. We saw the Dodgers get the 6-3 win there against Baltimore in Game 3 of that series to win the series 2-1. The Dodgers have a 4-game cushion there in the NL West. They're going to be handing the ball in this one to Clayton Kershaw, who's 2-2 this season with a 3.72 ERA. His last start was definitely a hiccup, guys, against the Rays. He looked really, really bad. 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs against a pretty weak hitting opponent. So you hope he's healthy. I mean, he's coming into this game, so I guess the idea is that he's healthy, but I'm always going to be a little bit worried about that with Kershaw. What I'm not going to be worried about, though, is that Dodgers bullpen. A 3.52 ERA coming out of the pen is elite stuff. And the offense is cruising right along, guys. 6, 6, 3, 3, and 8 runs over their last few games. Ohtani doing crazy stuff constantly. We've seen good stuff from Mookie Betts. Like, this is a very, very good offense. 4th in the majors in runs scored and 4th in the majors in on-base percentage. So we'll see what they can do here against another elite offense. We've got the Diamondbacks coming into this one at 76 and 58 on the year. They're 4 games back of the Dodgers, so in second place there in the NL West. They're going to be handing the ball to Zach Gallen in this game, who's 10-6 this year with a 3.65 ERA. His last start, he was lights out against Boston, guys. 6 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs allowed. So very, very good stuff there. Can he replicate that against a team like the Dodgers? Seems like kind of a big ask. The last time he pitched against them was back on the 4th of July. It was a game we saw Arizona win 9-3, but Gallen was not amazing. 4 innings, 4 hits, and 3 earned runs in that one. So definitely a chance for him to bounce back here a little bit, and he's been throwing the ball pretty well as of late. So I don't hate his chances to have a good game in this one. I am a little bit worried about that Arizona bullpen, though. A 4.02 ERA coming out of the pen could be a problem for whenever Gallen comes out of this game. The offense has been floundering a bit too, guys. 2, 8, and 3 runs over their last few. This is one of the best offensive teams in the majors, those guys. 1st in the majors in runs scored, 3rd in the majors in batting average, batting .261 as a team. They're also 2nd in the majors in on-base percentage. Like, this is a great offense. So looking at the numbers for this one, we've got the Dodgers at minus 115, the Diamondbacks at plus 110. We've got over-unders out there of 9 or 8.5. The Dodgers are 34-30 on the road. Arizona is 38-28 at home. That's very, very solid stuff. We've got mixed trends here towards the over-under, and with over-unders out there of 9 or 8.5. I do think over 8.5 certainly has some value, but guys, I really like the Diamondbacks at plus 110 in this spot. I think we'll see a decent start from Gallen. I think we're going to see the Diamondbacks bats take advantage of Kershaw here, and yeah, I think Arizona's in a fantastic spot to win this game at home as an underdog. Last but not least here, guys, we're looking at the Miami Marlins going on the road to take on the San Francisco Giants. The Marlins come into this game fresh off of a 12-8 win there at Colorado in the last game of that 4-game series. They're 49-85 on the year, handing the ball in this one to Adam Oller, who's 1-1 this season with a 5.23 ERA. He's going to be making only his third start of the year. His first one was pretty bad against the Diamondbacks. His second one was very good against the Cubs. So we'll see what we get out of him here in his third one. Not somebody that I'm looking at with a ton of faith, though. Also, losing a lot of faith in that Miami bullpen, guys. A 4.10 bullpen ERA, plummeting down the standings. The offense has been looking good, though, guys. 12, 2, 9, 2, and 7 runs over their last few games. Obviously, very inconsistent, and this team is 29th in the majors in runs scored and 29th in the majors in on-base percentage. So we'll see what they can do here against the Giants, who come into this one losers of 3 out of their last 4. They are 67-68 on the year. They're handing the ball to Blake Snell in this game, who's 2-3 this season with a 3.76 ERA, and the dude has been absolutely dealing. His last start, he was only out there for 3 innings. I can't remember what specifically happened in that game, but yeah, didn't have an amazing time, but it was a game we eventually saw the Giants win 3-2. And start before that against Oakland was dominant. Start before that against Atlanta was dominant. Like, you get the gist here, guys. Blake Snell seems like he's very much back. So if he can throw the ball well, maybe that can take some pressure off that Giants bullpen that is down in the bottom part of the majors with a 4.12 ERA coming out of the pen. That's not great, and the offense has been floundering for sure, guys. 0, 3, 5, 3, and 4 runs over their last few. That's 16th in the majors in runs scored, 17th in the majors in batting average. This is a strictly average offense. So looking at the numbers for this one, we've got the Marlins at plus 220, the Giants at minus 260. We've got over-unders out there of 7 or 7.5. Miami is 24-41 on the road. San Francisco is 38-28 at home. We got both teams actually showing fairly significant trends towards the under right now, which is a bit odd. If you wanted to take under 7.5, given those trends, I could definitely get behind it. I don't think we're going to see the Marlins score probably any runs here against Snell, and it's not like the Giants are swinging the hottest bats. I also think there's value in the Giants minus 260, but yeah, that's a very expensive price, so you definitely be wanting to look at them at minus 1.5. If you take a minus 1.5, you get them at minus 110. Guys, that's very appealing to me. Definitely a chance we could see the Giants minus 1.5 in this spot. I don't think we're going to see anything good from the Marlins. I'm not excited about Oller out there on the mound, so yeah, give me the Giants and Blake Snell in this one. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.